Hello, welcome back to the podcast. So excited about today's episode. First, I wanted to give you a little bit of a October energy forecast update. So, I gave an energy forecast at the beginning of the month, and we are really hitting the skies, the skies, skies, in the second half of this month. There is so much grounded clarity happening right now. And the other component that I'm witnessing that I have been intuiting for a long time, many people have been intuiting for a long time. People who have not faced their inner grief, faced their inner, they haven't built or established their inner sanctuary, are personally really being put to the test right now. And you and I, we don't want people to be uncomfortable, tested. But remember too, people signed up for this work. If you're listening to this, you're definitely someone who's empathic and sensitive, and you've been on your own journey. And no doubt there's people around you, and you're like, gosh, like, please come along with me. Are you ever gonna get it? These normal human things we think, right? Even though we can be the most awake spiritual person in the world, we still have these very grounded human emotions of just, oh, it could be so good if you just learned a few things and opened up and cultivated your inner sense of trust in your emotions and how to express them and feel them and all the things. And that's happening. That is happening in a big way. The other thing that's happening is we've been talking on this podcast for a while in the last year or so about the body. And that's where this specific topic today comes into place because fasting has been around for centuries. They practice it in all the beautiful, deep cultures. And it's something that I myself have been learning about the last few years. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and how it's turned into it's a spiritual practice for me. And clients recently have been coming to me so much so I was like, oh, I got to do a podcast about this. And they're like, oh, it just feels so good. It feels so good. Fasting is not about lack or suffering. It's quite the opposite. It actually makes your energy feel so abundant. And I'm not talking about fasting from the human drug down essence of, well, how do I, release weight or how do I maintain weight? And it's not about those things are side effects, but I'm actually talking about fasting from the sense of being in tune with your body, working with your body on these things. One other element I do want to share here as part of the October energy forecast before we get into that topic is that financially, things, the guys say, have hit a wall. There's a lot of dynamic that's shifting around money and wealth. And this is something that, even as I intuit the messages, I'm only given certain parts over time because you and I have to go through the process and the lessons in order to recalibrate, learn, and expand around money and around wealth. And I have been on this journey with money, obviously, not just my whole life. I've always read books on it. I've manifested money in all kinds of ways. But in these last few years, I've really like dug deep into this path of money and wealth. And I have learned so much. I have learned how to manifest, i.e., create in my life's experience from a whole different place. And that includes how we create with money and how I create with money. So that is happening not just to me, but at a much broader scale. And people are reevaluating how they feel about money. One of the things I intuited was you and I and, people we're healing all of these things, right? Inner child, relationships, future self, past self, all of it. And yet people still do not turn at all towards money. They fear it. They fear it. They fear who they are for wanting it. They fear who they are for needing it. And part of what this shift has been taking place and this shift into more of the feminine balance with money is that there's going to be far more receivership for people around wealth. That is the balance. All right, so that's exciting. So, spiritual fasting. When I, so I recommend to all my clients following the Dr. Mindy Pelz, PELZ method, because she specifically lays out how to fast for so that it doesn't ruin your hormones. It gives you an exact cycle and program so that you know how, if you're someone who is still in the menstruation part of her journey, that you actually know what to do, so that you are helping your hormones and keeping yourself healthy. And same for, insulin. How do we handle that? How do we break fasts? Because insulin is such a key marker in the inside of our body's health. So here's the deal. I started fasting because I was curious about it. And then I started listening to my body and my intuition about fasting. And I do not actually fast a lot. But when I do, it's because I'm called and I have such powerful experiences. If we fast for reasons other than what our body's calling us towards, that's when we start to cause like disharmony between our sense of self. Like, okay, my body's telling me it needs this, yet I'm acting this way. That's disharmony and disease in the body, right? And you may get the results you want, but that disharmony is going to show up in a variety of different ways. So, spiritual fasting is when we lean into the rhythm of our body and we listen to, what do I really need right now? And a lot of times when we are fasting, so many good things happen, but it starts to teach you, like, oh, I need more water. I need more rest. Believe it or not, part of the reason people consume as much as we do is because we are not well rested. We're stressed, we're overthinking things, we're not feeling calm. And fasting breaks you out of a lot of these habits. It's going to change your taste buds. I get really excited when my body lets me know we're heading into a 3-day fast, and I kind of get the heads up. And I'll intuit it too. I'll be like, okay, is it going to be this month? Okay, yes, no, it is going to be this month. What about this week? And I highly encourage you to do the same. But you want to intuit with your yes, no tool, which I teach in the Inner Light Framework workbook. But when you are fasting, you want to check in with what's a good time for you to do it. So I have a 2-day fast coming up. It'll be a Sunday, Monday. And I love extended fasts because you can start to feel like your communication from your body amplifies. I will it goes so far as like I can feel certain organs like when they're specifically going through a release, an energetic release of some sort through an extended fast. The other piece is the clarity that comes. Are you kidding me? The spiritual clarity, your energy levels pop off. I definitely recommend slowly making your way to an extended fast. I mean, I remember, I think in the very beginning, I was like, a 12-hour fast? Are you kidding me? And now my longest is 3 days. And that's what works for me. The other thing is, I have found personally, like when I'm doing house clearings, and I have a lot of house clearings that I do, I have to be well fed. And I think that's because it's such earth work. Also, I can tell going into group client sessions when we start to do beautiful, deep level soul work, I need to be well fed. So there's certain, that may change over time. I kind of think it will. I think I'm on this continued exploration between energy, the body, and how everything all works together. But do not defy your body. Listen to it. And to that note, I wanted to do an extended fast one day. And I think I got into like 4 p.m. So I was about 24 hours. And I started to feel in a way I don't normally feel when I fast. And I checked in with my yes, no tool and got a yes, you need to eat. So I ate and I felt so much better. And I did not get upset with myself for not fasting for the full whatever I was going to fast for. So, this is a reconnection to spirit and self, and it builds trust. The guides are saying right now it amplifies trust. The other beautiful piece that I witness time and again, so when we do energy work and we practice holding the light or channeling, which is what the Your Energy First course Magic Accelerator does, is you begin to like you physically, your eyes get clearer, your skin gets clearer, you're glowing, you feel good, you feel vibrant. After I've held energetic space for a class for an extended period of time, I'm like, oh my God, I've de-aged by 5 years. And clients will tell me they witness the same thing in themselves. And fasting does that same thing. And I always think to myself, if this is how good I look from a facial perspective after fasting for just 17 hours, imagine how my insides look. Imagine how those parts of me are benefiting. Inflammation going down, viruses losing their grip. I mean, the benefits are, if you just do a quick Google search, it's so far beyond. The other piece is I have found the first few times I did extended fasts, I had to clear my schedule a bit so I could let my body get used to being around the having, you're going to have energetic dips and hunger comes, but it's weird. It's not your typical hunger. You get hungry, but it's not a deep roar or rumble. You have some electrolytes, you have some water, you rest, you create, and next thing you know, boom. Okay, the other thing is I have found personally, my body will kind of heat up like a furnace a little bit as it's sloughing off this energy and healing from the inside. And sometimes it happens at the most inopportune times. And sometimes I get these big energy bursts, and I'm like, it's 4 a.m. I can get up at 5, but getting up at 4 is a little too extreme for me. Or, I'll be up until midnight because even though I went to bed hours earlier, just because sometimes with fasting, our body's it's so resetting. It is so resetting. The other piece is that the first few times I fasted, I didn't understand about breaking my fast. And so I would just eat whatever, not whatever I wanted to eat. I ate healthy, but I ate, different types of food and just didn't really pay attention to it. And now I integrate with very much softer things, like bone broth or egg and avocado, these things that keep my blood sugar balanced and low and helps my body slowly digest these things coming in. So, there's so many beautiful ways to approach fasting. And the one final piece I will say, the absolute lightness, the airiness, the fervor of energy, the clarity, the home feeling, the connection with your higher self, with your guides, with your team, with everything, with all of it is so expanded. And I believe that's our more natural state. This whole process has made me so curious about how much we are actually meant to eat. I don't have an answer for that, but it was like a week ago. All of a sudden, my body wanted like no food that day. No, I felt totally fine. I wanted no food that day, barely wanted any food the next morning. And I just listened to my body and I was like, okay, okay. I was like, here we go. I was like, I wasn't planning on this, but here we are. The other thing is I have like watched cooking shows or been around other people who are eating, and I think that's harder in the beginning, but once you get through it and you realize these are the benefits, you do not care about the barbecue or the birthday party platter or whatever because you're feeling so good and having such a good time. The other thing I will say, yes, of course, spirit guides come through more clearly visually. For people that see energy have a lot more clarity and there's just less noise and confusion and you have such a stronger sense of self. Oh, such a stronger sense of self. It's so good. So for next year, I have an energetic container for healers and intuitives who are also in business. And how do you grow this part of your work in intentionality, in alignment? And part of what we are going to be talking a lot about is how we care for our bodies throughout this process because they are physically carrying our experiences, our expansion, our energy. They are the channel for this energy, right? And that's going to be a beautiful part of it. I have been implementing, it's been such a crazy few weeks for me, and I've been implementing a lot of rest, like proactive rest, a lot of it actually, and playtime and not being on social media. And it's been really fun. When I am on social media, I feel good. I feel connected to it. I feel wired and desired. And it's a blast. And then when I'm off, I'm off. And I stopped myself from, I still had some old habits from tech, and when I was in tech, you were basically on 24/7, 7 days a week. And it was just a habit to do certain things on my phone, and I don't do that anymore. I've learned how to pace myself with my work, and it makes me a better practitioner for other people. It makes me have a lot more fun in life, which that's what it's all about. So I hope that for you, when you think about fasting, you actually think about, wow, what experience is really calling me forward? Because that truly, when that part settles in your bones and you get kind of past the noise, the noise of weight management, which is so pushed upon women in our society and men too, um, all of those things will come to pass and will come to fruition. But when you focus first on the steadiness of your body and your soul inside your body and how these two things are communicating together and with you, because they are you, it opens up an entire new world. The other final piece I will say is there's certain parts of my body I can physically feel the inflammation just like boom, go out of me. And we all know the things in our lives right now that cause that to happen. And it's so nice to give our body a reset and a break. And we are not expected to be perfect by any means stretch of the imagination. But this is something that personally I love, I enjoy, I get pleasure out of fasting. It's crazy. One other final piece I'll add. Helga, my German grandmother, she bought a book on by Bragg's, the folks that do the apple cider vinegar. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll read that. And I I read it and I thought, okay, wait, this is actually really good. Because they cover lifestyle, they cover fasting, they cover having a connection to nature, having a connection to source energy, they talk about those practices. They talk about the importance of health of your relationships. And it's funny because I went into her office and I said, wait, you already have this book. And she goes, yeah, but that's the old version. So we now drink apple cider vinegar in the morning and in the evening, and it's killed my cravings. I hate to even say this part. When I drink it before my coffee, it makes me not want coffee. And I gave up coffee a few years ago, got back into it. I actually got back into it during a retreat, funny enough, because everyone was drinking so much coffee. And I was like, yeah, fun coffee. And I just love the taste of it. And I love, the fun little ceremony of it in the morning. But yeah, be careful. You drink that apple cider vinegar and you may not actually want it as much anymore. Oof, it's bonkers, bonkers. And I just drink my coffee black. So I keep it really simple. But there's been many other benefits too. That has because it helps with your insulin levels and blood sugar levels. Same, I guess. I'm not a professional doctor. This is not medical advice, but the other thing I've noticed is it's completely cut out my cravings. And I just feel better. I also feel good knowing that there's something I can proactively take that's of this earth that helps me out and benefits me. So, and if you feel called, I hope that you naturally feel and enjoy those benefits as well. So, two programs are available right now. Well, I got a few things out right now. House clearings are still hot. House clearings I get a lot of at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. And what people tell me is just how connected to their home they feel afterwards. And people have cleared the craziest things have happened from clearings. Yeah, I'll save those. No, I'm not going to save those for another day. One of the bigger ones recently, this woman emailed me. She was a referral through a referral. And what I do afterwards is I send you a voice note that kind of like recaps, the clearings, the different things that happened. And they had moved. So I cleared the house they came from, which was already occupied by new owners, but you can do that with integrity, no problem. And then the home that they were currently in. And she emails me, and I have permission to share this because I'm not sharing any details. But there was something about their old house, this really specific thing that was cleared. And I even had asked them a few questions about it. And she came back to me and said, since that time, my partner has had ED. And since our house was cleared, there has been, she goes, it is a night and day difference. And I And she was so sweet. She's like, you should tell more people about this. And I was like, well, I don't. If you do any type of healing work at all, I can't like proactively heal someone of ED. There's a symphony of things that come together at the same time that line up so perfectly that this person clearly was doing other work. And then when they came across my line of work and wanted that done, they were ready for this. So, yeah, but I thought that was one of the more crazy stories. They said they gave it a couple of weeks and then they're like, okay, this is the only thing that's been different. So there's been that. There has been folks who are a lot of clearing of homes as people leave them. That's been a big one the second half of this year. And I think I've mentioned on here before, I've asked the guides, I'm like, well, I think of how all the houses we've all lived in. I mean, shoot, if our energy's everywhere, no wonder we're tired. And they said just not to worry about it too much, but what they are bringing up is this raise of consciousness, and we're all realizing how strong and sensitive we are, and that as we continue to nurture and shore up our own energy, we're wanting to do that in all parts of our life. And that means as we move, we have intentionality with when we move and how we move and all that stuff. Okay. Um, yeah, so a lot of so much crazy stuff. So much crazy stuff with house clearings. It's really interesting to me too, just how much people are picking up on nowadays. It's not people are no longer second guessing themselves, like, oh, this is real, so let's do something about it. I also think as we all grow in our consciousness, we were going to continue to hold vibrations. And as we hold higher vibrations, our home naturally comes with us. Like it knows how to do that too, because it's naturally of this earth. Okay, so house clearings, I mentioned the intuitive business program for next year. The intuitive business program doesn't just help you expand your healing in intuitive business, it also helps you with your actual work. So as your work develops, if you have questions about client sessions you've had or boundaries come up a lot, or how you package things, because how you package things is an intuitive, it evolves. It evolves just like anything else. And that one's going to be private coaching is always available, but that one is going to be a community. So I'm excited about that one. It's going to be about 8 to 10 people, maybe. And then the Magic Accelerator, it's turned into a Your Energy First program. And it's really focused on people who want to get clear on how to channel, but channel intentionally by holding energetic space, by holding the light. I have to use the term channeling because it's what our society knows. And then when people come in, I'm like, surprise, hoorah. You're not just gonna, channel whatever. Who's a famous person that's dead? I can't even think of anybody off the top of my head. The names that I thought of weren't appropriate to share here. Oh, goody. Oh, goody. And it's for people who really want to also. There's a lot of people who have to make sense of what it is they're experiencing, and they want to feel empowered in all aspects of their life, not just one. That's also a community program. It is available for private coaching as well. What I have found is that people who join that particular private coaching container are there specifically because they're ready, like they are ready for quick shifts and big leaps. And that's what's happened is we get to the brass tacks part of how to do this work fairly quickly, and then they start to already move on to the next thing in their own personal life and how they want to apply this work. So it's been pretty fun. I'm going to be talking a lot more about money, manifesting and money. And again, manifesting is one of those social cues that I'm going to use that term to connect with people and bring them in. But if you've been following this work, it's about creating. It's who you are as a creator. And the money piece too. The program that I'm creating is really short and sweet around it. And it needs to be because you will actually be doing tangible energy work, but it's not tedious, backward healing work. It's in the moment, moving you forward work, if that makes sense. We got so much stuff we're doing here. Okay, the book. The book. Oh my God, the journey of the book. I swear, this book, when it actually arrives and lands, is gonna, no one will be happier than me. So we're in our final iteration, and I've had to surrender big time and learn throughout this whole creative process. And I'm very grateful for it. The book is close to being ready, but not quite. And it's my entire goal is that people feel empowered and that they really trust their light and their energy and what they're capable of with it, and that they have a clear pathway to bringing out their own unique energy. I'm very clear in the book. It's not about following my method or believing anything that I tell you. It's about a gut check, and it's about how can you understand how to safely not just explore energy and explore your energy, but how do you safely use it? And this is one of those things that is people are still going so willy-nilly. And I think there's this undercurrent of energy in in our world right now where people are smartening up and they know. They're like, I know that there's a little bit more to this, and I just want to be clarified and simple and grounded in it. And I want to learn how to manifest with money, and I want to learn how to clear my home whenever I want to. And also, take my vacation to the Bahamas and write my own book. You should write your own book. Everybody should write a book, honestly, or a workbook of some sort. We need more of people's work out there in the world. Your wisdom is so good. Whatever you may think you don't have any, or you're like, I'm like, I got so much wisdom. How much time do you have? I get it. Your wisdom is so needed, and it has to come through in your voice. That has been one of the biggest challenges I've had is not just grounding in how do you tangibly explain all of the nuances of doing this work? How do I keep it in my voice and my story? And that's what I've learned over time. Over time. It's an understatement. And it's been such a special journey. And, AI is going to take a lot of things away. Like, it's going to remove a lot of obstacles for people. And what's left is your gifts, your stories, your wisdom, and how you specifically help carry and guide people through to have the experience it is that they desire to have in whatever capacity that looks like. Creation energy in the next 10 years is going to become one of the new, it's like gold. Whereas before it was, creativity is something you do in the dirt and the ground. It's got to be free. It's got to be reckless. It's got to be, creativity is that thing you do on the side. It's not. It's not. And I'm excited for how creativity is going to help heal people on this earth, because when you allow yourself to be creative and shine, that is when you benefit, everybody benefits. That's when the money comes. That's when you feel fully rounded, fully flourished. Nobody in this world is just linear or one-sided. My gosh, I shouldn't have skipped last week's podcast episode. I'm talking y'all's ear off. We're just getting started. You're like, Emily, I'm going to go fast now. Maybe I'm going to go fast for 18 hours after reading that Mindy Pelz book. And then I'm going to, you know, listen to how I can manifest and create with money on my own just from being inspired by this episode and see what happens. Why not? Why not? I love you. I mean it. Thank you so much for bringing all of you, just exactly who you are right now. Oof, yeah, feeling that into this world. Peace out. Love you. Bye. It has been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. As you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.